Chapter 2, Trouble Arrives. Jiangnan Region, Jianghai City. As Fang Yu stepped out of the train station, it was already evening. On his way home, he passed by a bustling marketplace and bought a freshly cleaned chicken and 2 cans of beer, walking leisurely back to his house. His home was in an old rundown urban village, a small house with a courtyard. The house had 2 floors. Fang Yu lived upstairs, while a mother and her daughter rented the ground floor. The rent was incredibly cheap, only 500 yuan a month. Back at home, Fang Yu set up a grill in the courtyard, placing the chicken on it to roast. While he was brushing sauce onto the chicken, a girl with a school bag dashed into the courtyard. "That smells so good, Brother Fang. I could smell it from far away," the girl said excitedly as she stopped in front of the grill, her big eyes sparkling with anticipation. "Don't worry, there's definitely some for you, Fang," Yu replied with a smile. "Brother Fang Yu, you're the best," she exclaimed happily before heading back inside her home. The girl was Yue Yue, a high school sophomore and one of the tenants on the ground floor. A few moments later, Yue Yue came back out with a small stool, setting it down and sitting beside Fang Yu. "Brother Fang Yu, where have you been these past few days? My mom went back to her hometown, and I've been so bored staying here all by myself," Yue Yue said, propping her chin on her hands. "An old friend passed away. I went to see him," Fang Yu replied truthfully. "I'm so sorry for your loss," Yue Yue whispered, her voice soft as if she had done something wrong. She assumed that Fang Yu's friend must have been close to him and around his age. To lose someone so young it was tragic. But you noticed that Fang Yu's face didn't show any sadness at all. Instead, he was staring at the juicy, sizzling chicken, swallowing hard. "It's ready." A few minutes later, Fang Yu picked up the perfectly roasted chicken with his bare hands, seemingly unaffected by the heat. He tore off a chicken leg and handed it to Yue Yue before digging into the rest of the chicken himself. The aroma was heavenly. For someone who had been cultivating for nearly 5,000 years, it was almost laughable that Fang Yu still couldn't stop eating regular food. But he had no choice. While he could technically survive without eating, he would still feel hunger. There was a time long ago when Fang Yu was so disillusioned with life that he tried to starve himself to death. Even after 2 months without food or water, he remained alive and well. His body functioned normally, but the unbearable hunger and thirst never left him. As long as those sensations persisted, Fang Yu had to eat and drink to keep himself comfortable. Later that evening, Fang Yu sat on his bed, examining a stack of medical prescriptions written by Xia Zhu over the past 20 years. These prescriptions were the culmination of Xia Zhu's life's work, his ultimate masterpiece. Even a single one of these prescriptions was a priceless treasure. If leaked, they would undoubtedly cause a sensation in the medical world. This kid even researched remedies for enhancing virility and kidney health. Truly a talent surpassing his master, Fang Yu muttered to himself with a chuckle. "Bungi, bungi, bungi." While Fang Yu was studying the medical prescriptions, a loud and aggressive knocking echoed from downstairs. "Yuchi, get out here. You still owe us 50,000 yuan in gambling debts. Do you think hiding means you don't have to pay?" A rough voice shouted angrily. With his sharp hearing, Fang Yu could easily pick up the sound of Yue Yue crying inside the first-floor apartment. That girl had mentioned that her mother went back to her hometown, leaving her alone at home for a few days. "Hurry up and open the door. If you don't, we'll break it down. Once we get our hands on you, we'll crush your balls," another man yelled threateningly. Bang! As he spoke, the men started slamming against the door. My dad, Yu Chenji, already divorced my mom. He doesn't live here anymore, and this has nothing to do with us," Yu Yu's trembling voice called out amid sobs. "You say he's not here, and we're just supposed to believe you. You're his daughter. You think we'll let you off the hook?" The men continued pounding on the door. "If you keep this up, I'll call the police," Yu cried out in desperation. "Call the police, and I'll deal with you first once I break down this door," one of the men threatened menacingly. Bang! Crack! The door was forced open. 2 burly, fierce-looking men stormed into the house, their eyes scanning the room. They spotted Yu trembling in fear, her legs too weak to support her as she collapsed onto the floor. The men glanced around and confirmed there was no one else in the house, just Yue Yue, all alone. "Wow, who knew that bastard Yu Chenji could have such a pretty daughter?" One of the men sneered, his eyes lecherous, as he stared at Yue Yue. "I've got an idea. Since we can't find Yu Chenji, let's take her and force her into prostitution. The money we get can cover some of his debts," the other man suggested coldly. "Don't rush. Before that, we can have a little fun first." Hey, the first man said, as he squatted down, his hand reaching toward the trembling Yue Yue with a sinister grin. But before his hand could touch her, he felt an overwhelming force lift him off the ground entirely. "Who are you?" the second man roared, lunging at Fang Yu in an attempt to attack him. Bam! The next second, the man screamed in pain as Fang Yu kicked him, sending him flying out into the courtyard. The man Fang Yu held in his grip didn't even have a chance to utter a word before Fang Yu slapped him hard several times, his face swelling instantly. Then Fang Yu tossed him out into the courtyard as well. "Whoever owes you money, go find Han. You have 3 seconds to get out of here," Fang Yu said calmly, his voice chillingly firm. The 2 men, now dazed and terrified from the beating, scrambled to their feet. They didn't dare to say another word, let alone threaten him, and fled in a panic, like scared dogs. Fang Yu turned his attention back to Yue Yue, who was still on the floor, trembling and crying uncontrollably. He crouched down beside her. "It's okay now. I've chased them away," Fang Yu said gently. Yue Yue threw herself into Fang Yu's arms and broke into even louder sobs, finally releasing all her fear and tension. After comforting Yue Yue for quite a while and fixing her door, Fang Yu finally returned to the 2nd floor. To be honest, after living for nearly 5,000 years, Fang Yu had seen almost everything. His emotions had dulled over the centuries, and he rarely felt the urge to interfere in other people's misfortunes. People like Elder Tang He would usually just watch indifferently, choosing to help only those he had a personal connection with, or those who piqued his interest. As the night deepened, Fang Yu lay on his bed, closing his eyes, ready to sleep. Like eating, Fang Yu didn't need sleep to survive, but he still felt the sensation of fatigue. So, he had to sleep. However, just as he closed his eyes for no more than 2 minutes, a soft knock came at the door. When he got up to answer it, he saw Yue Yue standing there in a thin nightgown. "Brother Fang, I'm too scared to sleep alone. Can I sleep at your place?" Yue Yue's large, tear-stained eyes were swollen and red. Her delicate nose was pink, making her look utterly pitiful. Apart from her mother, Fang Yu was the person Yue Yue trusted the most. Fang Yu hesitated for a moment. His apartment only had 1 bed. But seeing Yue Yue's trembling figure, he couldn't bring himself to refuse. "You can sleep on my bed tonight," Fang Yu said. I can sleep on the floor. You should sleep on your bed," Yue Yue offered. "It's fine. I slept a lot on the train today, so I'm not that tired," Fang Yu reassured her. Yue didn't argue further. She carefully climbed onto Fang Yu's bed, her thoughts racing. So this is Brother Fang Yu's bed. It's still warm. He was just lying here. From the bed, she peeked at Fang Yu, who was sitting at his desk, leafing through a stack of medical prescriptions. Her cheeks flushed. "I'm actually lying on Brother Fang Yu's bed. What is he reading? How is he so strong?" Those 2 scary men were so fierce, yet Brother Fang Yu dealt with them so effortlessly. "He's amazing." Lost in her thoughts, Yue Yue soon drifted off to sleep. The next day, Fang Yu arrived at Jianghai High School. Over the centuries, he had attended countless schools. It wasn't that he particularly liked studying, but to live like an ordinary person, he had to blend in. After trying numerous professions, Fang Yu still found that being a student was the most interesting and least stressful. Returning to Class 2 of the senior year, Fang Yu took his usual seat in the back corner of the classroom. In class, he was a quiet and solitary figure, blending into the background with no close friends. He was confident that at least half the students in his class didn't even know his name. "Did you hear? Tang Xiaoru, the campus goddess from the advanced class, is transferring to our class." "Is that true?" "Yeah, the class monitor overheard her talking to our teacher in the office. She specifically requested to join our class." "What the hell? That's the goddess we're talking about. Why would she transfer here? Could it be that she has her eye on someone in our class?" Fang Yu could hear the chatter loud and clear, but to him, it was just noise. "Hey, Fang Yu, Tang Xiaoru is transferring to our class. Aren't you excited at all?" His deskmate, the chubby Lu Dong, poked his arm and asked. "I don't even know who she is. Why should I be excited?" Fang Yu replied nonchalantly. "Are you serious? You've never heard of Tang Xiaoru? She's the young miss of the Tang family from Gi. She's got an illustrious background and a face like an angel. She's the undisputed goddess of Zhenghai High School," Lu Dong said excitedly. "Tem's family from Jiangnan. That sounds vaguely familiar." But Fang Yu just let out a casual "oh" and rested his head on the desk, ready to nap. He hadn't slept the night before, and he was feeling a bit tired. Seeing Fang Yu's disinterest, Lu Dong gave up on talking to him. When the class bell rang, everyone returned to their seats, sitting up straight, eagerly waiting for the goddess to arrive. Sure enough, the class teacher, Mr. Huang, walked in, leading a girl into the classroom. The girl wore the standard school uniform with her hair tied into a ponytail. Her face was free of makeup, yet her skin was as fair as snow, smooth and radiant. Her features were incredibly delicate, her eyes sparkled like stars, her nose was petite and elegant, and her lips were soft and rosy. Although she wore the same uniform as everyone else, she carried an ethereal and unworldly aura, as if she had stepped out of a painting. This was the goddess. The entire class, both boys and girls, couldn't help but sigh in admiration. Starting today, Tang Xiaoru will be joining Class 2 and studying alongside everyone. Let's give her a warm welcome, Mr. Huang said enthusiastically. The class erupted into applause, loud enough to wake Fang Yu from his light nap. He lifted his head, and his eyes landed on the girl standing at the front of the room. Fang Yu immediately understood why Tang Xiaoru had transferred to his class. Damn it, trouble has arrived. Tang Xiaoru scanned the room, searching for someone. When her gaze landed on Fang Yu in the back corner, her eyes lit up. Fang Yu, I knew you'd be here. Teacher, I'd like to sit next to him, Temp Xiaoru said firmly, her eyes fixed on Fang Yu's seat.